Hello, my
guys,
zoo crew.
I tried my damnedest
welcome
to
to
get
yet
some good
another
games to
zoo
show
crew.
you, but
Which one are we going to be talking about this one?
That's
Oh,
just it.
well,
I've been
it's
doing
one
this,
that
I
the hype
shit
train
you
is
not,
completely around. It
since
is Retreat to
10
Coral
o'clock.
Tunnel.
So I've been
This is one that I wasn't
staring
buying
at
into
it
right away, but
and
I may have changed my mind a bit on this.
I'll tell you this, I got a
First off, before we go
show
any further, let me
was
just
the
go
combo
ahead and
action
point blank say
and,
Retreat to Reliquary is what this deck is probably going to be called because it's a clever name, and I'm the one who came up with it first. I'm just putting it out there, copyrighting it right here every time you say it. Costs you 2 cents. Retreat to Reliquary, that's me. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about what the deck is. I have to, again, one more forward, say that I'm doing this on Cockatrice, which isn't my favorite place in the world to test. I do test a lot on Cockatrice, unbeknownst to most people. Just I don't make, as a rule of thumb, I don't make videos on my testing on Cockatrice. My reasoning why is pretty simple. Cockatrice, being that it's a free, inherently because it's a free version to play, and also, mind you, not one that's directly supported by the game developers of Magic the Gathering. It is gonna have a lot of sort of like loosey-goosey people playing it. When you put down $1,500 for a zoo deck in total, I can't believe that's how much it's worth right now.
Those were just easy enough wins.
You know, you better be damn sure that you're investing
him,
money into it, that you were willing to invest time into it, and you know every little tip and trick possible of the deck. People who do best for even more costing decks like Jund, you know, that's one of the reasons why they're so good at it, is because if you were going to pay literally a card's worth of money on a bunch of cardboard, you should at least be confident. Here, a lot of people are just trying out decks that they don't own, and they're just doing it for giggles and trying to see what it's like, and just playing around. Which nothing's wrong with that.
So that was just,
but because of that, it tends to lead to a lot of inexperienced plays. I never have a problem on MTGO when I go to evolve like an E1, and I put out a critic. It evolves. People see the triggers and they go, okay, yeah, it's static abilities. I have to explain that at least once out of every 10 games when I play on Cockatrice to someone.
The two matchups I want to talk about real quick was the so
testing on Cockatrice is incredibly hard. Incredibly hard. And as such, I gotta edit out a lot of videos. I actually have a different name that I use on Cockatrice than the one that I've got right now, where I can liberally kick people out and not worry about my
it wasn't even like I had a chance to respond.
It's really just an uphill battle trying to find anyone to play on Cockatrice.
Nothing was my fault.
I mean, outside of people that, you know, if you know people and you guys are testing them, so play group on Cockatrice, it's fantastic. But there is some pros to Cockatrice. I'm not going to spend the whole video downcasting it. The pros are the fact that you can play with cards before they exist, and you can play with cards you don't know.
But it wasn't like
that being said, this entire deck list I own, with the exception of the 3 Retreat to Coral, so I am using it for its pro that I'm going to be able to play things ahead of time. Now, I've done some primary testing with this deck before I even get into fighting.
Next one was Meller.
Primary testing that I've done with this deck, and just Retreat to Reliquary in general. I was looking at this list of the Zoom that I have, my current build that I run. It's very close to like what most people run because it's a very solid deck at this point.
And we can't go off with
and I'm thinking,
that being
what
said, if I was
can
turned
cut?
earlier with the combo,
And really, you can't cut.
There was no chance.
Slots are just very cemented in stone with what they do.
And even then,
you cut anything, you
kept up, even if I had a pad.
Other matchups worse. Before I even did any testing, I didn't cut anything from that, and I went, nope, Naya's not gonna be the way to go with this. So I went into ban. I just was like, screw it, we're just not gonna have the red. We're gonna try it out without any red, no bolts, no Kessicool fronts.
But
blood moons in the side, none of that crap. We're just gonna go ahead and just do ban. And I tried ban aggro for a while. I think I had 2 Scythe Tigers, or 2 Scythe Leopards. Yeah, those are the ones. In the main 4 Step Lynxes, And I didn't even run not Wild Knoxville because I didn't have access to red, and I was just like, I'm gonna get better landfall triggers if I just run straight Brand. And it's true, you do get better landfall triggers. Turns out that was actually totally a correct move of me. And because I did go like, well, maybe I need the just continual 3/3. Nope, you just get better landfall triggers if you just go Bant. So just that's just worth mentioning. And I just went straight Bant, but the more and more I played, the more and more I was like, dude, I just run out of gas super fast. If I don't have the retreat to Coral Helm, I'm going to lose. So I've got two options. I can go more all into the combo. And to clarify for you guys not in the know why I'm talking about this enchantment that's just is a 3-mana enchantment. It's a win the game enchantment for if you have Neither Reliquary. Neither Reliquary, you would cast it turn 2 or turn 3, depending on if you've got a mana dork or not. Neither Reliquary, again, just to clarify, in case no one's played with Neither Reliquary for some strange reason, I think everyone who's subscribed to me loves Neither Reliquary, but whatever, is that you get a 1/1 boost static for every land in the graveyard, and you have the ability to tap it and sacrifice a forest or plains specifically to it. And speaking of which, I gotta boop. Forgot. At the breeding pool. Forgot about that one. There we go. Better. Now this is the list that we're doing. So you can sacrifice a forest or a plains, which happens to shocklands happen to be, and you can search your library for a land card to put it into play. The land cards you're going to want to put into play are more fetch lands, which then will trigger the Retreat to Coral Helm. Retreat to Coral Helm will untap your Kessig Wolf Run, crack the fetch land. Now you've got another retreat trigger on the stack when the other land comes in. You can sacrifice that land with Neither Reliquary, yada yada yada. At the end of the day, you're going to have like 17 lands in your graveyard. Neither Reliquary, 17 is unrealistic. You'll probably have closer to 14 lands in the graveyard. So Neither Reliquary will be a 16/16 at that point. With most shock damage, that's enough to kill someone. But in case it's not, you could have also floated mana and got yourself Kessig Wolf Run and trampled over any opposition. You could have Rogue's Passage to have it unblockable. You could have Soaring Sea Cliffs to give it flying. Or you could have Century Stepped to give it protection from a color and swang through things with protection from a color. So a lot of times you want to leave one fetch open with a fetchable source, like, I don't know, Breeding Pool, something that comes into play tapped. So that way you can still surgically take out this Sinjiri Step when they go like, yeah, no, Abrupt Decay to that guy. I'm not going to die to this. You go Sinjiri Step, give it protection from green, alright, swing past your Tarmogoyf, and your Abrupt Decay doesn't kill my dude. And you win. A lot of the times you can just, if you don't win on the first strike, if like, let's say you've got a 16/16 Knight, and you don't win on the first strike, you can go ahead and knock him down to 4 life, which anything you do basically is going to kill it eventually. Especially if you've got a Kessig Wolf Run, you can just pump the mana into like a Tarmogoyf and win the game a little later on. But you just keep the Sinjiri Step open. You just don't do it. You just don't do the Sinjiri Step until you gain advantage off of it, and it's like a 2-for-1 or something, and then you kill them on the second swing. Especially if you've got the Kessig Wolf Run, because you're just going to give it trample. So that's the combo with the deck with Retreat to Reliquary, or Retreat to Coral Helm. The other plus side is if you just have a Retreat to Coral Helm out, it lets lands that you draw later on in the game help you continue your gas. So when you draw something later on in the game, you see Noble Hierarch, and you're like, no, I need some beef, and you can go get it like a Geist of St. Traft instead or something. Anyways, back to my story, because it was story time. So as I was playing more and more, the more and more I realized, like, I just run out of gas really, really quickly. So I started cutting out. The first thing I cut out is the Scythe Leopard. Then the what do you call it's got cut out. The Step Lynxes got cut out. And it got to a point where I was just like, all right, what I want is I want to turn 1 a Mana Dork. I want to turn 2 Knight of the Reliquary. I want to go ahead and just win the game. So I tried out some of the other ones that are a little crazier with combo stuff, like Zur the Enchanter. I even tried out 5 colors for Zur. I tried out Wargate, tried a couple different things to just go all in combo, and at that point I just looked at my deck and I was like, this is just bad twin. So I just opted not to do that again. Just like, this is really bad twin, just don't do it. And then I looked into just being like, all right, well, like, let's just do the best kind of Bant I could possibly do. And Collected Company is, by the way that you do that. And you basically, unlike the Zoo deck that you're seeing in front of you, it's basically just a deck that's got, it's just half of it is mana dorks, and then the other half of it is 3 converted mana cost creatures that are awesome. So things like, again, Nightgeist, Smiter, even not Kitchen Finks, but Rockspore Monk, that's the name I was referring on. Stuff like that is what you want to run. Yeah, you also want to run things like what do you call it? Eternal Witness, so you can recurve your Collected Company and keep it going. Keep the company going. But the problem was, I was just like, the lack of interaction. I really couldn't do stuff. Like, I could main deck some counter spells, but I was just too slow. And even then, my Knight wasn't a guaranteed kill, I was finding with my combo. It was just like, with them being at 20 life, my Knight was just not pulling its weight. And they had so many resources to just, like, when my Knight came out, just to kill my Knight, even double kill my Knight, you know, if I pull out a Century Step. Because there was no, I didn't have them on their heels, so I took a step, took a cue from Patrick Dickman, he's awesome, with his Tarmo Twin, and I was like, well, if I present a threat that they have to deal with, like, I don't know, maybe just a Wild Noctowl, and I went ahead and said, okay, if I present this to you, you have to deal with the Zoo half of my deck, or it kills you. And if I happen to draw to a Retreat to Reliquary kind of deal, the Reliquary combo, then I'll win the game. And if you don't respect that I can win the game off of the Retreat to Reliquary, well, then you're gonna die to the Zoo combo, you know? Like, it's just this nice little play. And the more and more I was playing it, I sat down, I actually forced myself to go, all right, I know you love this Naya-colored Zoo list, but how do you make it just shoehorn the crap into the Retreat to Coral Helm? How do you just shoehorn it in there? And I went, okay, my land drops have to be 22. It has to be 22 or 23. And to try to give myself the most space I could, I was like, it's got to be 22. So 22 land drops, can't get around that. That's where I live at. If I want to support a thing that goes to Collected Company, and why would I not want to support the Collected Company? I'd have to decide whether Collected Company is better than Retreat to Coral Helm, or if Retreat to Coral Helm is better than the Company, if I wanted to cut one of those slots. So I have to think about things that are cuttable, that the win combo is better than. So cutting Collected Company would be stupid, because that's the reason why Zoo is a strong 1.5 tier deck right now, is because Collected Company. It is arguably the best Collected Company deck out there. It's probably better than Melora Company because it's more reliable in its beatdown plan. It's probably better than Elves, because Elves dies to a little bit of sideboard hate where Zoo does not. It is worth noting that Zoo has more top 8s and top 16s than any Collected Company deck currently. So I'm just putting it out there. I'm not trying to make any animosity. I'm just saying that's one of the reasons why you have to keep the Collected Company. Alright, so if I'm going to keep the Collected Company, then, alright, so my math is getting a little bit easier. I have to have 25 or more creatures. There's no way I can get around that. 23 creatures, I am doing a 75% hit rate for my 2, and I think it's around a, well, no, it's actually around a, tanks. It's like around 20% hit rate for, I think, 2, and it's around 75 for 1. It's not what I want to be at. 25 gets me a lot closer to my goal, which is about 85% hit rate. No matter what with Collected Company. It also helps that Collected Company can find me if I have a retreat out. Can find me the Knight of the Reliquary to win the game just on the spot. Instant speed, mind you. So yeah, and with 25, so I gotta have 25 to 27 land slots. All right, what does that give me? That leaves me with 13. You hear right here, 13 non-creature spells that I can use. So I have to then decide which of those 13 non-creature spells and 2 creature spells, because I was at 27 creatures, can I cut? And I didn't want to cut the Pride Mage because it's too good against things like, Lantern Control, which exists right now. It's also really good against things like Twin and Affinity, and even pretty good against red deck wins. It's a good card. It's not the best. I've gone down from 3 to 2, but it is, out of the hate bears that I was packing, it is the second best hate bear. And then the first best hate bear was Scavenging Ooze. It doesn't used to be, but it is right now with all the Jund and the Junk and the Twin and the Grixuses and the Delvers and all that stuff. It just becomes a lot better to run Scavenging Ooze. So I looked at it and said, all right, well, the hate bears are really my flex spots here. I wanted to have one more 3 converted mana drop to hit off Collected Company, so beater. So this smiter there was going to be some kind of 3 converted mana drop that was a creature that was going to hit it. So I wanted to keep that in there, and I decided Voice of Resurgence was the best thing to cut. So I cut the Voice of Resurgence out of here, and I had to cut then 1 non-creature spell, and I didn't want to go down on Collected Company. That's again one of the reasons why this deck is good. So I wanted to keep it. And I had to then decide between a Lightning Bolt or a Path to Exile. And I chose the Path to Exile because Lightning Bolts are way better early on in the game than Path to Exiles are. Path to Exiles are something we want to see late in the game. Or mid-game, I should say. That's our late in the game. But Retreat Coral Helm has a little thing to it that people don't realize, which is you can tap a creature down as well. That being said, you can tap down the Twin combo before it happens. You can tap down an Emrakul with it. You can tap down a Wormcoil Engine from Tron. You can tap down a Tarmogoyf that's going to block you. It's not the worst enchantment in the world to have out. At the very worst, it scries, which is pretty good for you for gas. And at the very best, it wins the game for you. And then in the middle range, it taps things down. And that's relatively good. That helps you with your combat math. If you put down a fetch land, it taps 2 things. That's fantastic. That being said, and you do also have a cute little trick here. I'm trying to name out all the tricks that I'm possibly thinking of right now. Aside from the Knight of the Reliquary, you can actually untap a Noble Hierarch with it. So you can put mana with the Noble Hierarch out, put out a land, put out a fetch land, untap the Noble Hierarch, crack the fetch land, put out another land, untap the Noble Hierarch again, and you've netted 3 mana off of that Noble Hierarch. So that's something just to keep in mind too. But so I decided that 1 path is forgivable to cut from. As far as the mana base goes, I was running a Steam Vents. You saw me cut it just a second ago. And I ran into some situations where it wasn't the best opener in the world to have the Steam Vents. My reasoning for putting the Steam Vents was like, I need less red than I need blue, so I might as well put them on the same thing because I'm never going to need them at the same time. Because I'm not going to go like Snap Bolt in this deck, for example. But I then decided, I needed the consistency of everything needs to be sackable to Knight of the Reliquary. So Breeding Pool and Hollowed Fountain is the way that I'm supporting this. This is like old school domain zoo math for me, so it's pretty easy. I'm going to take a while to realistically think if I want to cut Arid Mesas or Windswept Heaths or Wooded Foothills out for something like Misty Rainforest. I probably don't is the answer, because I'd rather have access to all my basics at any point in time than not with this kind of deck. But yeah, so then I had to go down from 2 forests to 2 plains, which was the redundancy factor in Naya to allow those 2 to exist in them. So I cut a plains and I cut a forest. And then the other thing I did was I was always running Keswick Wolf Run, but I switched out a Stirring Wildwood for a Sinjiri Step for the reason that I expressed earlier. So I know that was just a really, really long reason to talk about the entire deck makeup, and something I also forgot to miss was that I hit 3. I'm in blue. I got no reason not to run Geist. Geist is really good. Geist gets taps things, or I get things tapped down, and I bolt things in this deck, so it's just, and even as a burn spell, he's just stupidly good. He wins the game if they're expecting to just do removal spells. He actually is really good against Jund, so he actually pulls up your things. Your matchups. So Geist is in here. I'm not running him as a 4 of because I'm running Collected Company, and this is from way, way, way back then testing. I already know that 3 Geist is the correct number if you're going to run 3 Collected Company in the deck. You're never going to run into the problem where you're going to have too many Geists on the field. That's not going to happen. Or I should say, like the legendary thing is going to kick in. That's never happened in 100 games of me playing with this deck so far. So there's the deck as total. This is it completely. I think it feels weird because I'm a cynic, and I don't honestly agree with things right away. I think the hype might actually be real for Retreat. I need to play it on MTGO, though, to 100% verify that, but I think the hype might be real. Because with my testing, so far I found out that I don't lose the games to blue decks. I've retained every bit of strength that I've had against blue decks prior. We're talking Grixis Twin, Grixis Control, Grixis Delver, any type of that kind of blue deck. That's like sort of tempo-y, control-y. I've got it. The game is easy for me then. It's actually gotten better because if somehow I slip through the retreats, I can win the game on the spot. I'm especially good against blue-red control decks. Moving along, I have actually been managing to beat a lot of red deck wins recently. There's a lot of red deck wins that have been popping online. And I've been able to beat them with just very narrowly, mind you, not as narrowly as I would if I was playing Naya. So I can see a slight decrease in my matchup against aggressive decks. We're talking red decks, we're talking affinity decks. That being said, I haven't lost to any of them yet. It might just be, I'm going to blame it on Cockatrice's player experience difference, and that I might have just been a better player with them, choosing not to turn one path to exile because I know that he might be land screwed and stuff like that, like very, very small little expertises that I might have that I probably wouldn't get away with as easily on MTGO. But that being said, I have noticed a slight decrease in my matchup against the specifically affinity and the aggressive deck as in red deck wins. Infect, Boggle, stuff like that. I actually haven't found a decrease in the win percentage at all. It's the same as before. So it's slight. I would say marginal, maybe 1%, 2% and that's specifically because of the land base. I've just got to play around it. After sideboard, I cut out the Retreat to Coral Helm. I cut out the Geist of St. Traft. I bring in 2 negate, but I don't expect to use them. So I actually am turning myself back into sort of a Naya deck, and that win percentage goes up. I also have a lot to side in against them. I've got Core Firewalkers, Thalias, and then these Jeronkas Bands and negates. So it's not the worst thing in the world. Game 2 has actually with the negate, and I was running Stubborn Denial prior to that in the sideboard. It's actually gone up in Game 2 and Game 3, weirdly enough. Against red deck wins specifically. Against Affinity, I think I'm still fine with my combos of things like Stony Silence and Cataxes. So I think I'm actually pretty favored against those decks. It's just as long as you play very, very carefully. But for give or take, I'd say 50-50. Maybe 45 not in our favor. But you just got to play very, very carefully. That being said, I've seen a noticeable increase in my matchups that I should lose against. Things like Ambient Bloom, things like Tron, things like Jund. I've actually gone, my win percentage has gone up, and a noticeably amount too, way more than the decrease for the 2 aggressive decks that I named. They have to worry about my retreat, and while they're worried about my retreat, they're actually leaving up removal. They're not using their Abrupt Decays right away, which is crazy, and I'm hitting in damage with my Noctills because of it, which is exactly what Tarmo Twin did. So it's a precedence that already exists. And against things like even just elves, I normally don't win against elves until game 2, and I have my lucky Bonfire of the Damned or something like that, and I go removal heavy. But I had an elves that was there was no way I was attacking through that board whatsoever. He was at 14 life. I retreat to Coral Helm. I played it. I turned my guy into a 17/17, and then I got myself. He was tapped out. I got myself a Century Step, and I named green, and I won the game. And I did that twice. Game 2 and Game 3, I did that. And he got really ragey on me. I shouldn't have won that game. I should not have won that game. I don't win against elves like that. That's just not a way to win against elves. Against elves, you gotta hope that you can keep up with them on removal, and if you don't draw the removal, and you don't draw the beater, and you're not a tempo deck, you can't win that game. That's just the way it goes. Same thing with Bloom. I've had been staring down a gigantic Titan. And then I tapped it down before attacks. And then I was able to just win the game by not letting him ever attack with that Titan. He just didn't attack with the Titan, and I won the game. And same thing, I'd actually, against Tron, I killed an I didn't kill an Emrakul. I just literally said, Emrakul, I understand what you're doing. I don't agree with it. The answer's no. And I just didn't do it. So, yeah, my win percentage against these decks that and in impossible situations where I shouldn't be winning has gone dramatically up. I'd say against the Jund decks, the mid-range decks, my win percentage has definitely gone up, but not by a huge ton, a noticeable ton, but not by a huge ton. I'd say that they still have, the things like Abrupt Decays, and they can and they can get rid of the enchantment. That being said, if they get rid of the enchantment rather than getting rid of my big Knight of the Reliquaries or things like that, I'm still winning the game off of that. That's helping me win the game because they're killing a creature or a enchantment that doesn't do a ton on its own, just for fear that it will do a ton with my Knight of the Reliquary and win me the game, which is fantastic. So there's that, and they're also packing a lot less. They're packing a lot less. What do you call it? Abrupt Decays than they used to. I think they pack 2 now, maybe 3. Maybe 3 might be the correct thing that they do after this update, but 2. They pack mostly the kill spell. Brain farting as to what it is. It's got a person dying on the front of it. Anyways, the red black one. I don't know why I'm brain farting on it. But anyways, yeah, so they're packing that, in which case Knight actually has a very, very good chance to get Century Step and not die to it. Terminate's the spell. So that win percentage has gone up, not as much as that I'd hope. It's maybe made the matchup actually 50-50, where it used to be like 30-70, not in our favor. So, hey man, I will take a 50-50 matchup against Jund. That's better than I've ever hoped to have. It's also made my matchup against Tron about 50-50 as well, too. Tron is, winnable for small zoo, very winnable for small zoo. But for bigger zoo, it's not so winnable because it's slower. That being said, having just an oops, I win combo before they can do anything is killer. They have to have the Yugonel to really annihilate you in that matchup now. The unfair matchups, like the combo matchups that I was talking about, like elves, the ones that don't interact, has gone up dramatically, like a ton dramatically. Slightly because of the negate and the sideboard, don't get me wrong, but has gone up like a crazy amount. It used to be that I was 10% chance that I had to win. It's gone to 50, to 60, to 70% chance that I'm going to win. I haven't played enough of these combo decks that I can give you a definite answer, but things like elves, I'm favorable against them now. Things like what's the deck? Ad nauseum, I'm favorable against it now. These are results that I was not expecting. Zoo does not win against combo decks, but now it's starting to win against combo decks. And that's why I'm saying that Zoo could possibly be tier 1 now. I'm hesitant to call it that because, 1, that would make me the most excited person in existence, but 2, because I'm cynical, and I don't like making calls like that. I really can't 100% say that this is the future of Zoo without playing it on MTGO. But I do highly suggest, the reason I'm making this video is I highly suggest that you take this deck list and you play with it. I just Goldfish, play online, play on Cockatrice, it's free. And then comment back. Tell me on the Zoo thread. Tell me on the on this YouTube channel. Tell me what you guys are doing. Tell me how it's working out for you. I want feedback. I want to know if there's any minuscule plays that I'm missing. I'm still new with the Growlhound deal. If there is any of these things that I should be aware of. If voice is better than, I don't know, Scavenger News in your opinion or something like that. I want to know this. I want to test out this deck. I found out early on that the Bant is not the greatest version of this. That the Naya one, which is already existing, a strong 1.5 deck, can easily shoehorn this in once you know the correct cuts. The correct cuts being at least 2 Hate Bears running 25 creatures and 1 Path to Exile to fit it in there. I would not go over that amount with non-creature spells. I would stay at 13 non-creature spells, 25 creatures, 22 lands at any point in time. I wouldn't change that set. I also wouldn't suggest doing crazy things like adding in like Ruin Ghost or whatever his name is, Ghost of Ruins or whatever. And like the only thing that I'd really be considering changing here is maybe Luxodon Smiter could be like Eternal Witness that could recur, Retreat to Coral Helmet or Collected Company. That would be my maybe change that I would go for. But I think that collected Experiment 1 is better off, or not Experiment 1. Eternal Witness is better off of the Collected Company than the Smiter is, unless you need beats, in which case the Smiter is better. But Smiter is just 1,000 times better when you're just naturally curving out. You just need a beater in your hand. That being said, so that's why basically Geist got 3 Geist and 1 Smiter used to be in the Naya version, just 4 Smiters. Let me try out a game. Hopefully I'll find a good one for you guys. But definitely comment on the zoo thread. Definitely comment on, for MTG Salvation, comment on this YouTube video. Talk to me. I want to hear about it. Alright, let's jump right into here. Right. Rolling a 20, like a boss. We got like the combo too. Yeah, for some reason Control M doesn't work while I'm recording. I don't know why. Works in normal times, but it doesn't work always. Yeah, we'll keep this. It's got the combo too. Cool. Let's see if we can just turn 3 it. Is this the one I fixed? Did I forget to fix it? Oh, I did forget to fix it. Well, that's fine. I can still make blue off of this, so it's not the worst in the world. Although, honestly, it is the worst in the world. Put that out there. But we gotta hope that Noble Hierarch does not get killed. All right. There's no killing the Noble Hierarch yet. I get past it, I'm screwed. Doomed Traveler seems great. This is a good step. Yeah, let's just go right out here. Let's try it. Knight of the Reliquary. Pass the turn. Alright, we got a turn here, and if he doesn't do anything, we'll just combo off, and this will just be the first thing. Doom Traveler, it's probably Return to the Ranks. There was a deck not too long ago. Return to the Ranks. That's what I'm going to assume. If not, that's fine. We'll just go for a Geist. But this leads me to believe I think I got it. Voice of Resurgence, right. Alright. We'll just go ahead and do this. Your deck is shit. Good game. See ya. You're... Oh god, when I like edit this, I'm just gonna zoom right into here and just see the rage that happened. Alright, I'm just gonna keep going because why the hell not? Let's just go ahead until he quits, you know? So funny. He's just gonna go ahead and keep doing it over there. He finally left. Alright, let's go report that guy.
Alright guys, I tried my damnedest to get some good games and show you, but Cockatrice blows. That's just it. I've been doing this, I shit you not, since 10 o'clock. So I've been literally staring at a screen for 3 hours trying to get a good game, and I have not found one. I'll tell you this, I got a couple... what I was trying to show was the combo in action, and not getting rage quitted during it. The combo in action, and just like how it exists, how it can protect itself. I have not found a good one. I will try again tomorrow, but tonight I'm done. I played against Infects, I played against Junk, I played against Red Dick Wins, I played against Miller Company, I just finished playing against Zoo. I'm trying to think of what the other good ones was. I played against an 8-rack. And the Miller, most of them aren't worth mentioning. I lost to the Jund deck, and I lost to the Miller Company deck. Those are the two that I want to talk about. The other ones that I won was Red Dick Wins. I won against the Zoo. I won against the 8-rack. 8-rack was easy. I just did some aggression, and he left early. Zoo was actually pretty easy. But I'll get back to that in a second. The Red Deck Wins was easy enough. I survived on basically 1 life and then got myself back from there. Those were just easy enough wins. The Zoo deck, I out-aggroed him. Like, as in, I was like, I understand that I'm probably a better Zoo player than most other Zoo players, so when I played against him, he made some wrong decisions, and I made the right decisions and capitalized on them, so even if it was a 50-50 gameplay, it tilted towards my favor just because of experience. So that was pretty much a no-brainer, but I wasn't able to combo off. I had it. Geist did a number on him because he couldn't kill it, and Knights were huge. So that was just that. I just had bigger creatures, and I won. I think he may have had less Tarmogoyfs than 4. I don't know. But yeah, I was just able to win on that. He made some bad wolf run choices too. I was just able to survive, and I did not feel the damage of like being blue at all come into effect. In fact, any damage that I felt for being blue against the Zoo matchup, just the normal Zoo, was actually offset by the fact that I had Geist. The two matchups I wanted to talk about real quick was the Melora Company and the Jund deck. Now, the Jund deck I lost, and I lost with the combo in hand. I just couldn't put it out there. Like, I got blown out by what do you call it? The Abrupt Decay. It wasn't even like I had a chance to respond or anything like that. It was just like bad sequencing, so I got blown out by Abrupt Decay. Nothing was my fault. I did everything right. It's just like it was already turned like 8 or something ridiculous like that. And I could never cast the combo because I would put out the Knight and it would get killed. There was no way I could protect that against that. But it wasn't like it didn't seem like it was like that big of a deal. It was actually more just the fact that I was mana screwed for most of the game. That was what killed me, not the fact that I had the combo. I think if I wasn't mana screwed, I probably could have won that game. Next one was Melora Company. Now, Melora Company I lost to specifically because he had Linvala. I didn't realize Linvala kills this deck, but hey, I've never really played with this deck until this moment. So, turns out Linvala is good sideboard material against us now, I guess, because we have a combo win. And we can't go off with our Knights. That being said, if I was a turn earlier with the combo, I could have killed him. There was no chance in hell that he would have won if I had a mana dork, and I killed him that way. And even then, I kept up. Even if I had a path at some point in time, I would have then just won. So it wasn't the worst in the world, but those are when I lost the combo. Sadly, in hand, so I didn't have any good footage to show you. Everything else I just won with beatdown. Pretty much, it seems like one out of every 6 games, maybe the combo comes down to relevancy, but in a longer game, it might come down to relevancy. But just normally, you beat down with beatdown. So, that's fine. That's the deck in a whole. I hope you guys like it. Again, let me hear your comments on it. I'm going to try to do this again tomorrow, so I will be listening. And remember to feed the animals.